I'm going to now show you how to create a new MicroStation DGN file using the MSV8i launcher on your desktop. I'm going to double click and open up my launcher application from my desktop, and I'm going to click on the Run MicroStation button. I'll be presented with the File Open dialog box. Within the File Open dialog box, there is a button that looks like a white paper with a star on the top left hand corner. I'm going to click on that button to create a new file. As soon as I click on the button, I'll be presented with a file save dialog box with an option to choose a seed file. MicroStation remembers the last seed file that I've used in creating a new file. I'm going to call this file that I'm going to create a new file demo, and I'm going to be navigating to the location where the seed file is stored. I'm just going to copy the name that I've assigned in here, and I'm going to click on the browse button to show you what kind of where the seed files are stored, and then what kind of seed files are available to the users. Caltrans seed files are stored in C drive, Caltrans folder, HQ folder, MSV8i, seed V8 zones folder. I'm going to go click on the MSV8i folder, and then show you the other options in here. There is a seed V7 format, seed V7 folder too, but I do not recommend using these seed files for creating new files in your workflow. If you're working on a project right now which is brand new, I would recommend using seed V8 zones folder, navigating to that folder, double clicking on it, and either choose a 2D file or a 3D file as your seed file. If you're working on a layout sheet, for example, for your project, you're going to be creating a 2D file. Depending upon the coordinate zone that you're working in, you're going to choose one of these seed files with the 2D prefix on it. E stands for English, and the zone information is at the end of the name of the file. So in my case, I'm going to be using a 2D English seed file, which is in zone 5. I could also choose a 3D English seed file with a in zone 5. Or I could also use a generic seed file, which is v8eseed.dgn, if I don't have to assign a zone to my file. Just like if I'm using if I'm creating my quantity table, I could use that. Or I could also use a 3D file, a generic 3D file, which is English, by selecting v8eseed.dgn file. There are two metric seed files that are available. One is a 2D without the Z suffix at the end, and then there is a v8m seed.dgn, which is a metric seed file in 3D. So for this presentation though, I'm going to be using 2D eseed zone5.dgn file as my seed file. I'm going to click on the open button in here, and I'm going to be once I do that, once I go click on the browse button, for some reason file name gets changed. This is normally something that I've seen with the UI, so I'm going to go, that's the reason why I copied the name of the file that I've assigned previously. I'm going to paste it in there. I'm going to click on the save button. The next thing that I'm going to do is select that file, new file demo.dgn, and I have the option to open that file as read-only without adding data. That is another option that you want to always keep in mind. If you're opening somebody else's file and you don't want to accidentally change anything in that file, you can open the file as read-only by checking this little box in here. So the file is open read-only for you, and you're not going to be accidentally making any changes to it. Also, if you're working on a project and that is the only project that you're working in, there are certain tools that are available to you in the button that's right next to the new file button that we've used previously. We're going to be clicking on this button that says Tools and File History. If you click on that button, you have the option to set a default seed file. Instead of going and changing it every time, let's say you're going to be using zone 5 as your default seed file for most of your work, you can set the default seed file to use MicroStation's current seed file. I'm going to click on the OK button, which next time I'm going to go click on the new file button. It actually defaults to that location. or that seed file. So I'm going to click on the cancel button. I'm not creating a new file anymore. I'm going to open, that's something that you should be aware of. If you click on the tools and file history button one more time, you have the option to compress the file. That is, sometimes when you start adding data to a file and you start deleting them, all these objects, because the DGN file is a database, is stored in the database. Even though it's not displayed, if you take them out, it's removed from the display option, but the data is still there in the file. If you compress the file, the data that's associated with the elements that are deleted is going to be removed, and the file size becomes smaller. So if you want to save some space on your project directory, you can compress the file if you want to. You have the option to upgrade to V8 format if you're opening an older V7 format file. So those are the other options that are available in there. I am going to be now clicking on the open button to open the new file demo.dgn file. Because I've clicked on the checkbox that says open the file read only, in the title bar for the file, actually says it's a 2D V8 DGN, but it's opened as read only. The other thing that I want to check every time, that I mentioned in my previous video too, to click and open the message center, make sure that the zone that you selected is the right zone, or the coordinate system is the right coordinate system for the project. That is a good check. Let's say I don't want this, or I accidentally assigned the wrong zone to my DGN file. When I selected my seed, a seed file, I picked up a wrong seed file. How do I change it? That is something that could be done within the MicroStation UI, but because this file is read-only right now, I can't make any changes to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go close this file and then turn off the read-only option. Let's say I want to assign zone 6 as my seed file, or set my coordinate zone for the project to zone 6. That's something that you could do. I'm going to go click on the CT menu, and I'm going to go to project setup option, click on it, and you'll be presented with the project setup dialog box. Like I said before, I want to be using V8 zones, and I'm going to be using zone 6. I can check by clicking on the show planes button. If your county is not displayed in this dialog, but this is a good way to check it, then you've obviously chosen a wrong zone for your project. I'm going to be closing this PDF file. I'm going to be coming back to my project setup dialog box. I'm going to be applying zone 6 as my coordinate zone for this DGN. Remember, just changing the zone in using this option in here only changes the coordinates that are assigned to the center of the file. If you already have data that is in the drawing, that is not going to be moved to a new location. If you have stored or elements in this DGN file, then just reassigning a coordinate zone to the DGN file is not going to move the elements to the right location. So this is something that you could do early on in your project when there is no data in the DGN file. But if you have data in the DGN file, what you've done just now is going to be or not useful. So always pay attention to the coordinate zone that is assigned to your DGN file. I'm going to close the message center for now, and I'm going to be closing the DGN that I've created. This concludes the demonstration.